Hello dear friends. Today I will discuss about paradox. What is paradox? You have heard many times that this statement is totally paradoxical statement. Sometimes we say save money by spending money. Wait, what does that mean? How can that possibly be true? That advice seems contradictory but may make sense. This sentence is an example of paradox, a statement or argument that seems to contradict itself but can in fact be true. A paradox is a self-contradictory statement. दोस्तों, एक ऐसी स्टेटमेंट जो आपने कही हो जो ट्रू नहीं है, सीम्स वेरी इरेलीवेंट बट इन फैक्ट वो ट्रू होती है. लॉजिकल पैराडॉक्सेस होते हैं, लिटरेरी पैराडॉक्सेस होते हैं. इन लिटरेचर पैराडॉक्सेस आर अ पावरफुल लिटरेरी डिवाइस. what they are and why are they so valuable to readers? So I will discuss in this lecture about paradox. If you are already feeling like you have just stumbled into a philosophy class, have no fear. The easiest way to understand paradox is through examples, which we will cover in great details in subsequent sections. What if you need an easy paradox definition? I will tell you. A paradox is a statement or idea that contradicts itself. With simple definition in mind, you will be able to grasp the concept of paradox in no time. What is paradox? A paradox has a different definitions depending on where it is being used. That's where it starts getting complicated. In short, I have already told you, a paradox seems to contradict itself, but it can in fact be true. A paradox defies logic and runs counter to one's expectations. A paradox presents conflicting ideas and relates them in a way that forces you to wonder if it is true or not. In many cases, a paradox is neither decidedly true nor false and result in circular reasoning. कई बार पैराडॉक्स इस तरह से भी होता है कि nobody can define that, okay, whatever being said, it is true. The word origin of paradox comes from the Latin word paradoxum, which in turn comes from the Greek paradoxes. It is a combination of the ancient Greek words para and dokin. Para is a prefix that means beyond, while dokin is a verb that means to think. So combined, what it does mean, paradoxes or paradox means beyond thinking. A paradox is an idea that forces you to ponder beyond the normal and expected limits of your thinking. In Greek, it is called paradoxes. Doxos. Paradoxos. In Latin, it is paradoxum. In English, it is called paradox. Some paradoxes might sound false at first but have some semblance of truth. For an example, you might say doing nothing is exhausting. How is it possible? If you are doing nothing, you are exerting no energy. So how can it be exhausting? But think about a day where you just sit and do nothing. Or imagine a time you have been on trip, you are just sitting in a car or a train with nothing to do. At the end of those days, you are likely more tired than you would be if you had been busy. हम क्या मतलब whenever you are traveling, तुम कुछ भी नहीं करते हो, कोई काम नहीं कर रहे हो, लेकिन फिर भी थक जाते हो. Doing nothing is exhausting. So there are many logical paradoxes as well. That have you heard the age-old question, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Many people say chicken and many says egg. Statement is an example of logical paradox. It is logically unsolved. Theories of evolution aside, a chicken is born from an egg, so it stands to reason that an egg would come first. However, the egg is laid by a chicken, so the chicken would need to come first. That is classic example of logical paradox. So, some example of logical paradoxes, that everything I say is a lie. All I know is that I know nothing. This quote is attributed to Socrates and poses an interesting paradox. If he knows nothing, then he cannot know that he knows nothing. Everything I say is a lie. Am I telling the truth by saying everything I say is a lie? Or am I lying by saying this strange paradox is unsolved? Is the answer to this question or no? Many things which we are discussing. In literary, you have heard about that the first rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. There are a wonderful example from Animal Farm. All animals are equal. But some animals are more equal than others. That goes against the very definition of equal. Even if something could be considered more equal, the two parts of the sentence contradict each other, creating another layer of the paradox. So, I must be cruel only to be kind. Is it possible? To be natural is such a very difficult pose to keep up. Such examples we can find in paradox. Paradox doesn't have to confuse your reader if you set it up correctly. Tie the central idea in your paradox to your story's main theme. This will allow the readers to already be thinking about the central idea of your paradox before you overtly mentioned, like in the Animal Farm example earlier. So guys, this is paradox. So then people say, what is oxymoron? Two contradicting words that combine to create a new figure of speech. You have heard about an oxymoron is a figure of speech made up of two contradictory words. It does not result in the same circular reasoning as a paradox. Friendly fire, an example. Living history, magical realism, fake news. Oxymoron aren't inherently true or untrue. They create a new meaning altogether. वो दोनों एक इकट्ठे होके एक अलग मीनिंग बनाते हैं. फेक कुछ अलग हो गया. Then, what is antithesis? A thing or person that is the exact opposite of something else or someone else. Antithesis takes two unrelated or opposing ideas, then uses parallel sentence structure to connect them. It's a common rhetorical device in speech. How? Here I'll give you an example that you win some, you lose some. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Easy come, easy go. A day late, a dollar short. Antithesis doesn't create a debate of truth in the same way a paradox does. It is mostly used to create a catchy, memorable phrase to emphasize a point. So, what is irony? Irony, the use of words to convey a meaning that is the opposite of its literal meaning. Irony जो कहा गया है वो totally उसके opposite होता है. Irony uses contradiction to subvert what is expected in a story. The contradiction serves to show a difference between what the reader expects versus what is actually occurring in the story. क्या सोचा था और क्या हो जाता है. Nobody expected कि ऐसा भी कुछ हो सकता है. Dramatic irony, have you heard, is when the audience is aware of a situation but the characters are not. Verbal irony is when something is said that does not match the situation. For an example, you might say, I hope we can find a seat, when you walk into an empty venue. So, paradoxes are a powerful device that force you to think deeply about a statement or argument. So hopefully this would be very helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching this channel. Thank you.